Wanna play?
Wanna play? Wanna play? Wanna play? Wanna play?
Wanna play?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wanna Play. My name is James McKenna, and today we've got yet another franchise ranking for you. And today's franchise ranking is going to be the Sleepaway Camp franchise. I don't think I've ever done a video solely dedicated to this franchise, so yeah, if you're a big Sleepaway Camp fan, then this one is for you, I guess. It's a pretty unique, pretty interesting little franchise. I think I ended up enjoying it way more than I thought I would. I think almost all of these movies have something to offer, and not a whole lot of them really suck at all. So, without any further ado, it's time to rank the Sleepaway Camp franchise. Let's get straight into them. So coming in last place is going to be Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. This is pretty much one of those like Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, you know, Puppet Master Legacy kind of movies where it's just like a clip show from the previous 3 entries with only like 30 minutes of actual new footage. From my understanding, they only shot one day of this movie. Like, this movie was only in shooting production for a single day, and then Double Helix Films, the studio that was producing this movie, went out of business before they could shoot anything else. So basically this was just kind of random footage for like 30 years or something, until randomly the director decided to just take the footage back in like, I don't know, like 2010 or something like that, somewhere around there, take footage from the other ones, combine them in to the 30 minutes they already had, and then just release it as Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. And I mean, for what it is, it's just not very good. The 30 minutes of footage that they do have follows this girl named Allison, who's in like a psych ward. She's getting psychiatric treatment. And then at the very end it reveals, oh, she wasn't one of the campers. She is Angela Baker! Oh, how crazy is that? So, I mean, yeah, it's literally 30 minutes of new footage. Like, at least Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 had 45. It's like a nothing movie. It's just an hour-long highlight reel, and then 30 minutes of random crap of this woman who isn't Angela, all of a sudden saying that she is. So, yeah, I don't think this one is going to be ranked any higher. So coming in at number 4 is going to be Return to Sleepaway Camp. Now, although this is ranked second to last, I do think that this movie is a little bit overhated. I mean, the only thing that I ever heard about this before I watched it was that it's one of the worst slasher sequels of all time, and Alan is one of the most insufferable characters like ever put to screen. And yeah, he's pretty bad. I mean, he is pretty annoying, but I don't think it's really as bad as people make it out to be. Like, I think my expectations for this were so low that I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. So I guess there's a little positive for this movie. And I also think that the acting was strangely pretty good. Like, it was nothing spectacular, but I mean, like, the characters managed to convince me that they were real people, so that's pretty good. And speaking of the acting, the guy who played Ricky, who was a character in the original film, coming back as kind of, you know, like a legacy character, he wasn't very good. He was the one exception to the actors actually convincing me that they're real people. Yeah, he wasn't great, but it was still pretty charming since, as I said, he was a character in the original, so it was kind of nice seeing him come back. Angela! I think that the concepts for the kills are pretty good as well. I mean, you got the character literally named Weed, like that's his character name. He gets like tied down, somebody pours gas in his mouth and then lights a joint and sticks it in it, and he explodes. Like, I mean, sure, the explosion effect wasn't great. Matter of fact, it was pretty bad, but it's an interesting concept for a kill. Then there was the one, of course, where there was a hole in the ground in one of the cabins, and the kids are like looking in, they keep putting their eye down, and you know somebody's gonna die, but you don't know when it's gonna be. And of course, eventually one of the characters just gets stabbed right through the eye from this little hole. And then there's the kill where somebody gets hung from one of those basketball nets, like in a gymnasium that, you know, you can like put up with one of the buttons there. Somebody gets hung from a basketball net. I mean, it's pretty unique, something that I've never seen. The kills in this movie are pretty decent. But again, Alan is pretty much the reason why this movie isn't really ranked any higher, because yeah, he is pretty insufferable. And I don't understand why they never have him change clothes. Like, he's wearing the same, like, dirty, disgusting t-shirt the entire movie. Like, this isn't Phineas and Ferb. Like, you can have these characters change clothes, yet they don't for some reason. So, I mean, look, it's a movie with positives and with negatives, but I think there are slightly more positives than negatives. So I really don't hate this movie, although I do think that the top 3 are better. So, for me, Return to Sleepaway Camp is going to be number 4. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Sleepaway Camp 3 Teenage Wasteland. This is another one with some pretty insane kills. I mean, there's a character that gets trapped in a tent, then set on fire, and then Angela starts roasting marshmallows over the fire where the dude just burned alive. It's pretty insane. And there's also a racist character, which, yes, horror nerd, is a bad thing, but it's kind of justified because the racist character gets tied to a flagpole, lifted up to the top, and then dropped down head first onto concrete. It's pretty insane. The only thing is that's kind of all there is going for this, is just the kills. The other ones are utterly insane, and believe me, this one is too, but just not as much. It's just more kills for the sake of kills, and there just isn't as much, you know, so bad it's good craziness as there is in the top 2 that I'm going to talk about. So, for me, Sleepaway Camp 3 is definitely good. It's definitely a recommend, but there really isn't much to take away from it. So for me, it's going to be in the middle of the list at number 3. Now, my top 2 were pretty heavily debated. I think they're both pretty awesome for pretty different reasons, but I've gone for number 2 being Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers. Now, this one tells the story of Angela. Now, instead of being just a kid at the camp, she's now a counselor, and she kills people who don't follow the rules. And sure, she can be annoying because she's almost like a Karen-esque character, just like, you gotta follow the rules. Like, she's just like goody two-shoes, you know, annoying character that everybody else kind of hates. But I think the pacing of the film more than makes up for it. Like, I think this is legit probably the best paced slasher from the 80s. It's just non-stop, just go. Just insanity. It's amazing. Like, it just opens and just goes for it all the way through. And although, yes, I think Felissa Rose's recasting to Pamela Springsteen, it is a downgrade. I think Felissa Rose is definitely better for the role of Angela. I just think the insanity of the movie just makes up for that flaw. Again, the pacing is great, and there's almost no suspense to the movie. Like, you'll just be sitting there with Angela, and all of a sudden Angela will pull out a drill or something like that, and then you're just dead. Like, there's no build-up, it just happens, and you're just like, what? And then, of course, you got the leech kill. One of the most legitimately disgusting kills in all of slashers. Like, it got me. It was nasty, and it was sure as hell memorable. Overall, I just think that, although yes, this movie does have a few flaws, the pacing and the kills more than make up for it, and it's just more stupid fun like the original. So for me, Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers is going to come in at number 2. But of course, coming in at number 1 is one of the most utterly insane slashers of all time, the original Sleepaway Camp. Like, this movie is so much more than just crazy kills. It's crazy kills along with some of the most over-the-top characters, line deliveries, and just randomness. Like, there's so many crazy lines in this movie. Like, there's too many to name. And it's just... it's so good. Like, right from the opening credits, you understand the tone of this movie. And it's just so nuts and off the rails. And then, of course, the twist ending. One of the greatest, most out of nowhere, most shocking, and most jarring twists a movie has ever made. Of course, this movie follows Angela, a 14-year-old girl, or so you think, that at the very beginning of the movie, when they're little kids, I believe it's her uncle takes her and her brother on a boating trip, except something happens, one of them falls off the boat and gets hit by it. And the whole movie you're led to believe that it was Angela's brother up until the very end, where it reveals not only was Angela the killer the whole time, but Angela was actually the brother the whole time, and it doesn't shy away. Like, you know the way you can tell who's a girl and who's a guy down there? Yeah, no, they show everything. It's it is unreal. It is unbelievable. It's a movie that absolutely no way in hell could be made today, but oh my god, is it a trip. You absolutely need to watch this movie if you haven't already. It is so insane. It is so awesome. It's one of my favorite slasher movies of all time. And for me, there's no possible way that it couldn't have been number one. So thank you for watching my ranking of the Sleepaway Camp franchise. Let me know your thoughts of these movies and of this franchise in the comments down below. And let me know your ranking of the 5 Sleepaway Camp films. Stay tuned for our next video. I think my next franchise ranking will probably either be a re-ranking of Psycho, because it's my favorite franchise of all time, and the current video that I have ranking Psycho from 2020 is not very good, so it's either going to be that, or it's going to be a ranking of the Omen franchise. So stay tuned for that. You can subscribe to this channel if you liked what you saw today, and if you're interested, you can follow me on Instagram at James from Wanna Play. So once again, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye, and good night. Bang.